Back to the MASN broadcast booth now, and Mike Flanagan rejoined us. And Mike, when you look back at this series, and again, this is what's frustrating about this 1-5 start, the Orioles just as easily can be 5-1, except every time the inopportune home run, the inopportune base hit, or on the Orioles side, they don't get that base hit, and as a result, it's the Blue Jays getting out of here with a sweep.
Well, certainly everything gets magnified when the games are being as close as they've been. I mean, even throughout the game today, you were saying, God, Millwood seems in such control, but you keep looking up the scoreboard and you realize it's still 2-1. One man gets on and things can change in a hurry. But it really was a shame. He pitched so extremely well in this game this afternoon to come away. But you go back and do the series recap, gets swept, outscored just about 2-1. The other thing is the Orioles have not scored just in one inning of the last 19. So a disturbing trend developing there. Extra base hits. With the barrage of home runs today and runners in scoring position, the Orioles continue to have their trouble, even though the Blue Jays not a whole lot better. But it just seemed like when they needed the big hit or the big play, they were able to make it in the series. And for the Orioles, when they needed a big pitch or a big play, they just weren't able to do it.
You know, Mike, you look at that 8th inning and Kevin Millwood's out there giving us an outstanding ball game, and you kind of notice at that point that everything is starting to rise a little bit. You have been there before. You know what it's like to throw a lot of pitches and be late in ball games. When you start to lose it a little bit, what is your focus at that point?
Well, the thing that happens, and again, his pitch count was nothing short of astounding through most of the afternoon, but the mere fact of having to get up and down 8 times takes its toll in and of itself. You have to get loose eight different times, but you can feel when you're losing it. You just have to push a little bit harder. Not saying he wasn't trying. I mean, you couldn't have pitched much better than Kevin pitched today. I don't think you can really criticize anything along the way. An error, he's out of the 8th inning, and that was just the 27th hitter he faced. I mean, he was just 3 over the minimum and pitched out of the windup pretty much out of the whole afternoon. Again, just a difficult loss for Millwood, and he was making it look awful easy, making it look great for the young starters that were watching in the dugout. But boy, it can turn quickly in the major leagues.
Yeah, Mike, to cap off a week of frustrating games, you look again, and I realize the error opened the inning for the Blue Jays in the 8th inning, but 3 more runs coming in after 2 men out. It's now 12 runs out of 27 on the year allowed by the Orioles have come with 2 outs. That's nearly half of the runs the opposition has scored, and that's just demoralizing for a team because you're that close to getting out of the inning, and instead it's the other team rallying and getting those key add-on runs on the board.
Yeah, those 2-out base hits are certainly backbreakers, and these trends, they will even out. I don't believe they can stay this strong in one direction. The batting average with runners in scoring position, the 9 add-on runs. I mean, some of the numbers are pretty astounding when you think they've only scored 2 runs after the 6th inning. They've scored in 1 of the last 19 plate appearances, and one of them was changed, so those would have been unearned. So, you're not hitting real well. You're not hitting in a clutch position. You've had problems with your closer, your starters. When they give you a good outing, you're not able to put it away. You're not able to add on runs. So, you talk about pitching, timely hitting, and defense, in which Dave Tremblay talked about at the beginning of the ball game today. When you're not getting any of the 3, you really are in trouble.
Yeah, and it's kind of amazing when you look back on it. Everybody expecting somebody to be the guy to step forward with the bat, and everybody seems to be looking at the other guy. Obviously, they're not doing that literally, but it seems that way, and because everybody seems to be slumping at the same time, that's what you're seeing. The other team is shutting them down, and as a result, nobody's hitting.
Well, you're right, and what happens is that, becomes your lineup, instead of being sort of fluid and rolling over to the next hitter, what happens invariably is, well, I'm going to do it, and the next one comes up, I'm going to do it. And what happens, it breaks it down that the pressure, instead of being on the pitcher in that situation, now it's on the hitters. Now I have to come through, pressure on me. And I think you saw that with some of the at-bats earlier in the game today. So, once they start coming through in those situations, really, to me, it only takes 1 game, and that'll all change. And that's certainly what I'm sure Dave Tremblay is hoping for tomorrow.